So bike parks like this are reserved usually for enduro or downhill rigs. But today we're out here riding it on my budget Polygon 135 mil trail bike. The question is, do you even need a downhill bike at a bike park? Let's find out. So before we get any deeper into this video, let's cover 3 topics. 1, what's a downhill bike? 2, what's a lift access bike park? And 3, why wouldn't you want to bring a trail bike there? You see, a downhill bike is strictly designed for that gravity and or downhill focused riding. Downhill mountain bikes are heavy duty, full suspension mountain bikes. They have dual crown forks with like 200 millimeters of travel up front. They'll even have 200 millimeters of rear travel in the back. So big bike, tons of travel, slack geometry, heavy duty tires and wheels, super small rear cassette, usually like a 7-speed cassette or something like that, because these things are designed for downhill only. So there's no need to have a bunch of gears in the back for climbing back up. And that's why people usually ride these things at lift access bike parks like the bike park in today's video, Mount Bachelor in Oregon. Woo! Now, bike parks like Mount Bachelor are super high in altitude, gnarly, steep downhill runs, and it's got that lift, so it's gonna take you way up. You're gonna have thousands of feet of descending down some of the gnarliest trails you've ever rode, even double black diamond trails. Oh shit. And those gnarly double black diamond runs you find at bike parks definitely test the limits of this Siskiu T9 back here, which is why I had my doubts about even taking this bike. The T9 is a 135 mil trail bike. It's got 135 mils of rear travel, a single crown fork, although I did increase the travel on that fork to 150 millimeters. It's got steeper geometry than you'd find on a downhill bike, a big 12-speed cassette because this bike was definitely designed for climbing uphill. I've got these nice light Hunt trail wide V2 wheels on here, some, you know, kind of beefier but definitely faster rolling tires and lighter casing tires than you would find on your traditional downhill bike. 180 millimeter rotors front and rear versus a downhill bike that's going to have much bigger 200 mil rotors front and rear. That's going to change how good this bike is at stopping on the way downhill. So I was definitely concerned about those smaller rotors as well. Even though this bike does come with some nice 4-piston TRP DHR Evo brakes. I mean, everything about this bike, the suspension, the way I have it set up, is designed for more average mountain bike trails you'd find on your everyday riding. And I never thought I was gonna take this bike to a bike park like Mount Bachelor. But I was already up there filming a mullet wheel versus 29er wheel setup on my friend's Trek Slash. Definitely check that video out if you guys haven't seen that yet. And I brought this bike because I was planning on mostly filming that day. I wanted a lighter bike that I could easily just lift up kind of when I'm hiking up and down the trails to set up the cameras and get all those angles for that other video I was filming. I wanted this lighter bike. I knew I was taking it to the bike park, but I definitely never planned on riding some of the big jump lines at Mount Bachelor, like Red Line Jump Trail. And I surely never planned on riding double black diamond trails like Rockfall on this bike. But throughout the day, as I was riding this bike, I started to gain more confidence, and I just kept asking myself the question. Do you need a downhill bike at a bike park? I mean, no, I'm definitely riding it on that 135 mil trail bike up there. When I first started riding, it was sketchy. I was like brake checking into every little rock descent, any little technical section, any jump I came to. The brake bumps were kind of sketching me out. Already coming up short. Like, of course, if you like freaking Sam Pilgrim or something, you could ride these trails on a freaking Walmart bike, but that's not me. I'm your average rider. So like for me, I'm riding it on this trail bike. I'm gonna head back up to Redline for round 2. I'm gonna try and clear every single jump, but it's definitely sketchy. It's definitely taken every bit of skill I have, and it's definitely a lot more scary for me to ride the type of trails that I'll just be probably riding with ease on a downhill bike. Now I'm gonna fast forward through all of Redline Trail, but I wanna bring you right down to the end because there's a huge jump there at the end that has always challenged me. even when riding it on bikes with way more travel than this.
All right, here goes the big one right here. The big step up, the big tabletop.
And after clearing that jump on this 135mm trail bike, I knew I had to make this video, but I knew there was one trail left to conquer if I really wanted to answer the question of whether you actually need a downhill bike to ride the trails you find at a lift access bike park. Rockfall. Now I could explain to you how gnarly rockfall is, but I thought it would be a little bit more interesting for you guys to hear what a professional rider like Cam McCall and his friends think about rockfall. Keep in mind, him and his friends are pro riders riding this trail on downhill bikes.
So now we're going to a trail that's even more tack and gnarly and steep. It's called Rockfall. Get ready for like the bikes to sound like this. Whoa! Oh, did you see that? Whoa, dude! Oh, are you okay? Whoa! Yeah, I'm good. That's what we can expect from Rockfall. Let's do it.
So now, there's only one thing left to find out. Will this bike survive rockfall? Can you ride a trail bike at a lift access bike park? Will I survive this trail?
I'm going. Me too.
Now I have to be honest with you guys, I've never rode this trail rockfall before, so I had my friend on his downhill bike kind of tow me in and show me the lines, but I still had the questions and doubts in my mind about if my bike would be able to handle this trail, if I would be able to handle this trail, and if I would regret not bringing a downhill bike to this bike park.
I think I'm going to put these 180 rotors to the test. Oh shit. Oh, fucking hey.
So do you need a downhill bike at a lift access bike park? Definitely not. You don't need it. Do you want one though? I was not riding that trail anywhere near as fast as Cam McCall and his friends on their downhill bikes. I was definitely sketched out. I got stuck at one spot pretty bad, almost went over the bars.
Oh shit.
But I made it through. I survived the entire day, and I can't be happier with the way this Polygon T9 held up. These Hunt trail wide wheels, these are considered kind of like your budget wheels at just $500 for the set. Smashing down through those rocks, handled everything fine, no issues with the stiffness and how these wheels performed. So I definitely recommend these Hunt wheels. Check the links in the description for that. The Polygon Siskiu T9, I wouldn't call this a budget trail bike, but it's definitely on the affordable end of the spectrum. It's not like a top tier bike like a Specialized or a Trek that you pay, you know, $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 for. And I knew I just had to make this video for you guys. Do you need a downhill bike? No, I don't think you need one. Would you want one? If I lived right next to Mount Bachelor and I was riding these trails all the time, I would definitely get a downhill bike, or at least like a longer travel enduro bike like my Colossus N9. But for me and most of the riding I do, I just keep leaning back more and more towards trail bikes like this. 135 mils of rear travel, 150 fork. I feel like it can handle any of the riding that average riders like you and like me do. Let's be honest, I'm never gonna reach those speeds that professional downhill riders reach, But I don't know. This is just me, the average thoughts from an average rider. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. But remember, at the end of the day, it's all about getting stoked to go ride and have some fun, people.
Oh, my leg's cramping up. That's not good.